Welcome to the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. Hope everybody's having a good one. Got some practice notes for you. Gonna make it real quick, real fast, in a hurry. Get in and out of here. To start things off, you do have something to be happy about. Garrett Nussmeier removed the knee sleeve. He looks like he is 100%. He's taking the right step towards the recovery process. And I mean, initially, you don't know what way it's going to go. You don't know if it's going to flare up and bother him and if he's going to be able to live up to all the expectations and the preseason hype that he's had up to this point. People are talking about him being the top pick. People are talking about him being a potential Heisman frontrunner. They're talking about a national championship season. There's a lot of things that they were putting on Garrett Nussmeier that, quite frankly, if you have that injury, might not be able to accomplish. But now with what he's been able to do, how he's been able to answer the bell, if you will, I don't think the tendonitis is a worry at all. What Brian Kelly was saying, it's a 1.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. He was right. He wasn't giving you no coach speak. He wasn't giving you a smoke screen. He wasn't trying to, blow smoke up your rear end. He was being serious. Garrett Nussmeier is going to be able to handle this, and it looks to be the case. Now, with Weeks, Errol Perkins, they were not active. Not in drills. I didn't see them on the side. Some people said they saw Whit Weeks. I did not personally see Whit Weeks, but he more than likely was there and present, probably with the trainers, probably trying to, just get back to full speed, if you will. Now, it kind of seems like if you're a fan on the outside looking in, that injuries are starting to flare up, starting to pile up, starting to get a little worrisome. But I'm going to kind of taper those worries. I don't think that they're serious. Nussmeier, like I said, going to be able to do everything that we expected, everything that we needed, everything that he's capable of. Aaron Anderson, he's kind of been having an acclimation process, getting back into, the full conditioning aspect after being out for the first few parts of fall camp, then the off-season recovery, getting the fluid drain from his knee, lowering the inflammation, things like that, potentially hinder a wide receiver season. In Aaron Anderson's instance, I mean, it's not like he's going to have to be the bell cow guy where you throw all the passes to. He got a lot of pieces around him. And I think that's going to help him get back to speed and get back to 100%. If a guy like Chris Hilton or Marion Brown or Kyle Parker or Zay Thomas or yada, 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 all these different names that you can throw into his role and kind of take some stress or pressure off of his shoulders, if you will. And I think he's going to be able to kind of get back to speed as well. Harold Perkins. Now, this is probably the most serious injury recovery process out of everyone on the team because it was a torn ACL. It was a season ender. And a lot of people, when we're talking about ACL recoveries, they just don't understand. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you're talking about an ACL getting torn or any major tendon getting torn, a recovery process is not going to be that easy. You're not just going to be able to, in a year, get back and act like nothing's ever happened. Some people, quite frankly, weren't able to play at all after an injury like that. Now, with obviously modern medicine and all these different inventions and innovations, you got a guy like Errol Perkins in 6 months, 7 months, is out there full sprinting in camp or training or whatever the case may be. They held Witt and Perk out through spring, but they were still doing their work with their trainers or at different offseason programs or whatever the case may be. But Errol Perkins, every step of the way, has looked fluid. He's looked great. He's looked 100%. I don't think that there's going to be any worries about him getting back to his, where we know he can be, especially in this new position change and, limbo period where you're going to the start. Now you're at the line of scrimmage and now you got a couple more decisions to make. And you're going to have some things in your mind and you don't want to have in your mind a question on whether or not you can trust your body or trust your knee or your tendons or whatever the case may be. The less questions, the better. Nick Anderson, at times I feel like he's had moments with trainers, but it's just small things, cramps, got hit in the back. He had a little sleeve on one of his legs. I mean, there hasn't been anything injury-wise, thank God, in camp that has been 100% horrible. The worst thing, the closest thing you got to it was Garrett Nussmeier, and he was able to climb out of the dust, if you will. You got Jakeem Jackson every now and then, number 8, the cornerback transfer from Florida. He's off to the side. He had a hamstring injury as well. But, I mean, he's getting acclimated back to the process. I wouldn't sweat any of these injuries. I wouldn't sweat, overreact, any of these things. It's just like even in the Weeks and Harold Perkins being absent from practice today, it's precautionary, preventative. You don't want to put them in a spot where those injuries are getting worse or where they're getting banged up or where now the attrition starts to set in, especially at a linebacker role. It's also, here's another positive. It's not like they just got hurt in camp and they're dealing with it and trying to respond. They've been hurt. It's been on their mind. They've been through this process. They're at the end of it now. The finish line's near. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not like it's just starting. And I mean, you could be, I don't want to say you could be less than 100% and still be effective at that spot in the SEC, but with Weeks and Errol Perkins at 85%, that's still better than most people's linebacker core in the entirety of college football. So you can take your blessings when you can. Today at practice, saw a lot of run game work. Saw them toy with the O-line rotations as well. We got Karius Kern, who slid in at right tackle today. Weston Davis was there. He was active. He was healthy. He rotated as well at that spot. Now everybody's talking about potential for freshmen to play in the offensive line spot. Now, the chances are not zero. You've seen Brad Davis do it before. You've seen him do it with 2 freshmen, one on each side at the tackle spot. Will Campbell and Emory Jones 3 years ago. So if the talent is there, if they do their job, do their part, and the path presents itself, I could see a freshman getting on the offensive line, especially someone like Karius Kern. Now, Solomon Thomas won't be able to, get that opportunity. He's got a boot on. He's been working with trainers, recovering from his injury. However, Karius, and what we saw today, has a potential to get in and make some noise this season. And I mean, now, when it happens is going to be a question. It's not about if, I think. It's about when, more than likely. Now, there could be an injury. There could be a time where you're going to have to do a little bit of a regroup period at your offensive line if some type of struggles happen. And when we were talking about starting freshmen on the offensive line, that's what happened in 2022. You had to keep pushing that offensive line around. You had to keep playing with it. You had to keep toying with it. Brad Davis has a good eye. I trust it. I feel like Karius Kern's looked great at times in camp. And worst case scenario, you're probably just putting that in the back burner. And if you need it, he's there and he's ready. And you got to back up right tackle. Now you got to back up damn near every single spot across the board. And offensive line will be able to be hopefully a strong point going forward in terms of future. Now, they're going to be able to put some pieces out there that have some type of familiarity with each other, because the Tyree Adams, the Paul Mubangas, DJ Chesters have obviously been together for years. Now, yeah, you got some new faces with Braylon Moore and Josh Thompson, but as long as the foundational piece of your offensive line, it's not 5 new transfers or 5 new recruits or 5 new pieces. There is going to be a little bit of a, not like a click, but there's going to be a little bit of a chemistry in these guys. They're not strangers. I think that they can potentially build off of that and get some confidence through knowing what they got with a little bit of these guys. Quarterback room, Colin Hurley rolled with the 2s today. Nothing crazy, nothing big. I'm sure Michael Van Buren's still their backup. They probably were just, once again, playing around with rotations, with schemes, with fits, just trying to see who's doing what. Only saw 3 periods today at practice, though nothing big at all. Last day's tomorrow. We may see a little bit more. Getting close, though. To the end, the finish line, you can see it. It's right there. Right there at the end. Light skin bright. Saints yesterday. Interesting preseason game. We were there live. I'll give you a little recap of it, if you will. It was down to the wire, kind of. I mean, the first half, nobody thought the Saints were going to win. The Saints looked horrible. And then they fought and clawed back. I mean, yeah, the backups are on your third strings. You got a lot of rotational pieces in the preseason who probably won't play during the regular season, but they're out there, they're fighting, they're clawing, they're scratching, and they ended the game in a tie. A lot of people also it's a controversial topic. Was he out of bounds? Should they have had a second left? Should Groupie have been able to go out there and kick the field goal? I mean, look, I feel like, one, I was confused that the DB didn't go out of bounds or go down or do anything. I was surprised that he did not try to stop. I mean, I know it's preseason and it's not that serious, and he thought he could score and he got close. And I see the vision. You got in the damn red zone. But come on. What you can react in the comments if you want. What would have been bigger in terms of helping you get signed? Would it be get the interception and fight for the pick 6 and end in a tie? Or would it be show off the ball IQ and then get out of bounds? And then now they get the game win a field goal and you help them win. What one's more ball IQ? Trying to fight for the touchdown or get the field goal, 3 points, and now you're out of here? I don't know. Up for debate. Tyler Shaw came in early, had some struggles. Rattler came in the second half, slowly picked it up. I still think these quarterbacks are going back and forth, though. I don't think either coaching staff has a favorite. Well, I'll lie. They could probably have a favorite. I don't think either coaching staff really has a for sure grasp on who they're going to be starting right now. I do think that it's up in the air, and I do think it's close to a 50-50 toss. I'd imagine, like I said last week, worst case scenario, Spencer Rattler comes in for a few weeks. I think Tyler Shaw is the guy at the end of the year. Is he going to be the greatest guy? No, but he's going to do good enough where I think the New Orleans Saints are going to give him an opportunity. And it's also, G Sports was saying this too on our show. Why bring in a new regime and a new staff and let them pick a quarterback of the future, and then they're going to go with the guy that years ago a front office decided on or a staff decided on, and you've thrown him out there. Last season, he got, I think, 7 starts or at least 7 appearances, and I just didn't like what I saw. I think the ceiling for Spencer Rattler, this is it. It's right here. He's mobile. I mean, I'll give him that. The mobility is a plus, especially in today's NFL. We saw him run out of pocket multiple times, get 8 yards, chunk yardage here, chunk yardage there, especially when plays are blowing up. But there's also times where it's just like, at this point in your process, I would think you'd be a little bit further ahead. And I just could be a little too uber critical on it, but hey, that's just my opinion on it. I'm not going to lie to you. Saints made a trade as well. Kon Sanders, defensive tackle, to the Jaguars for a backup center. Interesting little 1-for-1 swap. I saw a TikTok clip of the Saints running out on the field before the game, and you can see Sanders as the last person out the tunnel. He knew he was traded the whole time. And that's what the rumors are kind of starting to build up. I mean, dude's running out there. He looks just disengaged. Doesn't look like he want to be there. Just looks like, man, get this over with so I can get on the bus back to Jacksonville, back to Duval County. Mason Tipton. Coco in the chat, Tipton is him. Man, Mason Tipton's a really good receiver. I'm not gonna lie. He might not be the next Mike T, but he's got talent. He's got talent. Spencer Rattler was trying to like 4 times in a row in the final drive. Find him somewhere, some opportunity. Look, he was reeling them in. I ain't gonna lie. H-Town Crew in the chat. Saints are rebuilding, bro. Years away from being relevant. Oh, for sure. For sure. And when we say relevant, we're talking about championship relevancy. Yeah, they're years away from that. Relevancy in terms of Saints fans of Louisiana, it's always relevant. I give them that. Saints fans are adamant to the point where preseason traffic takes you like 2.5 hours to get from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. Ask me about it. I'm sitting here stuck on the causeway like, man, so there's this many people going to the damn game? I was shocked. But no, all jokes aside, yeah, they're in a rebuild period. They are not going to have chances of playoffs this season. I'll be real. And if I have to live in infamy, I'll do it, because this is not the hottest take at all. Matter of fact, this is quite frankly mid take, if you will. I don't think next season that they should even sniff a quarterback position. I would do skill, whether it be wide receiver, running back, replacing someone like Alvin Kamara, defensive tackle, replacing someone like Cam Jordan. Either way, though, this team is in an interesting position because, yeah, you're in a rebuilding spot, but you're also in a conference that only has like 1, maybe 2 other hitters. The Bucs are hitters. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a good team. They're a playoff caliber team. They're going to be able to do some stuff. The Falcons, kind of mid. So the Saints are in a spot where they don't have to beat that many teams. It's not a loaded division with just dogs all over the place. Like, I don't know, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers, things like that. That's a division I'm not really trying to get in. Not really trying to get active. The Saints got an opportunity to be able to win some games. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it. They got so many question marks. We're sitting here talking about quarterback. You could throw question marks on every position from wide receiver to DB. People are happy with the O-line, but there's a couple of positions in there that they're going to be monitoring. It'll be a long season. Hopefully, LSU has a good one, and it cheers up Saints fans. And then you can just have a yin and yang. You can have one football team that's doing good, one football team that's doing bad, and balances each other out. I can see it happening. I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here. We're going to be back at practice tomorrow, back live Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Y'all hit that thumbs up. This has been the Verdin Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin, and I'm out.